equipment that you're using in kind of layman's terms? Like, what is this equipment doing? So we know that you're doing something to listen to radio waves. What about, like, what are we doing with respect to the phones? What is it you're doing as far as?
Well, with the telephones, it depends on the technology that's involved in the boardroom. There's many different types of technology, and we go in with test equipment that will answer a lot of questions. It will tell us if the hands-free feature is being abused at that particular time. It will tell us if the telephone set itself is compromised going to the PBX. If there is no PBX, say there's Centrex service where it's direct from the telephone right to the telephone company, we want to have a look at the complete line. We have to look at all of the spare pairs leaving the boardroom.
So it sounds pretty technical, the phone aspect.
Because people can put a small microphone on a spare pair, and now you've got a pre-wired path going from the boardroom to wherever the wiring harness goes, to a telephone closet, to a telephone room. I have found where telephones have been manipulated, where people have done cross-connects inside the telephone, and they're actually using the microphone, not the hands-free feature, but the microphone in a telephone as the bugging device, and taking all the room conversations down line. So there's a myriad of questions that need answering. It's just not a simple black and white scenario.
And in your career, when you're brought in, do you find that is there any kind of a pattern, like, be it an employee issue, a communications issue, like we talked last time about information going out through the garbage, people not shredding their garbage and leaving it in the bulk lift bin. Has there been any kind of a pattern, or is it varied from company to company as far as what you're finding out there?
All of the above.
Okay.
All of it's nothing simple.
Okay.
Some companies, when you're talking about telephone systems in the boardroom, they have concealed microphones and whatnot, audio-video concepts, and some of them are designed to have people dial into them.
Oh, brother. Okay.
In most cases, the people who are in the boardroom, they don't know if that system is on or off. So they don't know if a cleaner has gone in during the night, activated that system to a predetermined point somewhere on Earth, or if somebody has, prior to the meeting or during the meeting, dialed into it and activated it, and they're using it as a listening device to hear all the boardroom conversation. So again, another scenario, another question that has to be answered.
Okay. So now, what about, a lot of people are probably concerned about, or we should address it at least once, is about police taps. Now, I'm pretty sure that if a company is being investigated by the police, is there anything you can say about the police and wiretaps and your involvement and things like that? Is it how would that work?
Well, police wiretaps are quite sophisticated. Okay. The authorities use equipment that basically makes their taps transparent to a target line.
Okay.
So if I was evaluating a company or a residence and there was a police wiretap on the lines, I wouldn't know about it.
Okay, so that's important that our viewers understand, because I want to highlight that, because we don't want you getting bombarded with calls of people who think that they're under some kind of a criminal investigation. The public needs to know that, first of all, the private sector is completely incapable of detecting anything to do with law enforcement taps. They're basically unable to go, people like yourselves and myself are unable to go out and actually do anything that would interfere with the police, and it's a waste of time calling, because chances are they're not going to find it anyways. It's completely untraceable. And
it is.
Okay.
What I mean, police wiretaps, for the most part, are done in the central office. They don't go anywhere near.
Okay, so you're saying that the police wiretaps are put on like at the Bell Canada phone center kind of thing, right?
That's correct.
And we need to clarify, because I want it straight out there, that there's nothing that can be done in the private sector that's going to determine police tapping, right?
No,
you're basically
no.
on your own.
I mean, there is nothing coming down wire from a police wiretap that allows a technician in a place that's being swept to know that they have an interest. The police wiretaps, they don't drop the voltage, they don't draw any current, they don't send any signals down line.
All right.
In fact, in the United States, it's the law down there that the telephone companies ensure that no products go down to target lines.
Okay.
And I'm familiar with the intercept equipment, of course,
Okay.
in Canada. And I'm comfortable that if I was sweeping a telephone and there was a police interest, I would never know about
So
it.
we just walk away from it, that kind of stuff?
That's correct.
All right. And how long, I guess it would probably vary on the size of the premises, but can you give us an idea as how long, you coming into my boardroom, into my company, let's say I had an office of like 3,000 square feet. Can you give us an idea as to how long it would take to have all of this done? Is it a long process? Is it?
Depends on the complexity of the job and what the client is interested in.
Okay.
If he has internal problems where he may feel that an employee is putting a tape recorder inside another person's office someplace, that needs one type of testing done. If he's concerned about signals leaving, that requires another bit of testing that has to be done.
Now, sorry to interrupt you, but when you come in, are you coming in during office hours when everybody's around, or are you coming in at night? Like I'm just thinking, I got this company, and I want to have you come in, but I can only imagine you coming in to my company with all this equipment, with all these employees around. I mean, how do we facilitate you getting in there to do it without?
Okay. That depends totally on the client.
Okay.
Some clients like me there during the course of a work day because they like to impart to their employees that management cares about their privacy.
Okay, so some employers actually like to see you come in with all your equipment, so employees know that you're in there and you're debugging the offices and look at, hey, everybody in my company, I'm taking the secrecy of my boardroom very seriously, and we got this guy coming in to do it. So you're saying there is an example where...
That's correct. Other times, I have to go in after the cleaners have left at night.
Okay, so it's after hours.
After hours, sometimes on the weekends. Sometimes environments that are being swept are just simply too busy for me to go in during a working day.
So you'd come in at midnight, you'd come in at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you don't care, right? To the client?
Whenever.
Okay.
I would say the majority of the work is done in the early evening, like
evening.
after the cleaners have left.
Now, do these phone lines, when you're testing them, do we all have to be off the phone while you're testing them? Like, for example, if I have a number of workstations and I've got people on the phone, like, can you search them? Can you still do the sweep? Or would you have to say, okay, Sally, Secretary Salvatore, can you turn off don't go on the phone for a bit while we sweep? Like, how would that work?
Good question, and not an easy answer.
Okay.
I've encountered everything like that. A lot of times people don't like their phone conversations being interrupted by myself.
Okay.
And again, too, it depends on the telephone technology. Like, there's many different types of telephone circuits, and each type requires different testing, whether it's analog, whether it's ISDN or DSL or POTS.
Okay. And is there any frequency? Like, should we be doing this every single time we have a boardroom meeting? Or, I mean, how is it working with your clients? So where they,
It depends really on a program that's been initiated by senior management.
Okay.
Some people like me in there quarterly. Some people like me...
When you say quarterly, like quarterly a year?
Every 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people like me in there prior to every board meeting.
Wow.
Some people, they have it done once a year.
Okay.
So everybody is different. It's not unusual for companies that are undergoing growth, that are concerned about information loss, to have me in there on a monthly basis.
Every month?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And is it just the boardroom? Like, are we doing the individual offices, or how? Like, what does it comprise? Is it fair to say the whole company has been swept, or is it just the boardroom, or like, how do you feel about what it's?
It's primarily determined by sensitive areas such as the boardroom and offices where information can't afford to be lost.
Okay.
Whether it's a CEO's office, whether it's a legal department, purchasing, boardrooms, decision-making points,
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I guess one of the other things we want to know, what about the computers? What about the issue with respect to computers? Does what you're doing encompass anything to do with the computers, or is it strictly phone, or do you touch on it? Or
No. Computers are a whole different tradecraft.
Okay.
I've never specialized in delving into computer forensics. I'm familiar with some of the threats against computers. the devices which will gather keystrokes,
Okay.
devices that are put in line usually with computer keyboards where
Okay,
they
well,
plug
we've
into the
got a
computer.
guest that's going to come out. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a whole different forensic side of things.
Okay. Anyways, join me next time, and you don't want to miss the next show, because what's going to happen is Doug Ralph and myself, we're going to go out and we're going to take you on an actual boardroom sweep. And we're going to just show you some of the equipment that's being used and actually let you see what goes on when we do a full-fledged sweep. So if you missed the next show, you've missed something special. And then what we're going to do after that show, the next 2 shows after that, is we're going to talk about computer security, a full gamut. So we've got just about everything covered. After we finish off the computer end, we're going to talk about employee leaks, situations where leaks are being conducted through problems with employees. So anyways, we'll see you next time. My name's Kevin Bousquet. My dear guest has been Doug Ralph, County Electronic Surveillance Expert. Doug, thank you so much for being on our program.
My pleasure, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay.